next comic, she's very funny. She performs all over the city, guys. Give it up for Lori McCarty. Lori McCarty.
Alright, shit's about to get real. Speaking of shit, I wish you could shit, but I'm gonna wait until later. I think I come from a really fucked up family because my brother was a coke dealer, and my sister was a teen mom, and my mom was actually a teen mom, believe it or not, and my brother was an alcoholic. And then I was just recently reading an article online about the Duggars, and then I just didn't feel like my family was that fucked up, you know? I was like, yeah, I wasn't that bad. I actually never fucked my brother, so I think I'm doing okay. But my question was, how did that whole, like, the side hug thing, how did that whole thing become, oops, we had sex? I don't get that. I don't know. It's hard to think about, but, and then what's also really interesting is that that entire story got blown up, like completely got overridden by the story of infidelity. Like, infidelity in their family is like the biggest, like, no, like Satan's coming down to strike you out of, you know, you're not getting to the gates of heaven, basically. And, I don't know, I was like, okay, but like he fucked the sisters, I think multiple sisters, you know. But then when he had intercourse with somebody online that Ashley Madison found out about, I think that's, I don't know what that is, but whatever. That was a bigger news story than like incest, molestation, and that, I think we have messed up values in this country. I actually think it's okay to cheat, you know? Just try to be honest about it, you know? Just be like, hey babe, when you were out of town, I watched a lot of porn, of course, but then that wasn't really enough, so I got a hooker. Are you down with that? This is an honest conversation that people should have. We don't need to hide our business on the internet. We should just put it all out there for everybody just to judge and just say fuck it. But I was married once. I accidentally got drunk, which happens to a lot of people, and I was in Vegas. And when those two sort of collide, unfortunately, you can end up with a contract that says you have to hang around that person for an indefinite amount of time, sometimes years. And everybody always asks me, like, why did you get married? And why in Vegas, of all places? And I said, you know, I was obviously not with the program. Number one, I was intoxicated. And number two, I listened to cab drivers. And I know here in New York City, we get a lot of advice from fucking cab drivers. Every single day, my soul is going to be saved by Jesus. I'm going to find that true love I've been searching 38 years for. And all I have to do is listen to the advice of my cab driver. In the 10 minutes, I go from across town because, you know, I'm lazy. I don't like taking buses, okay? I don't even care. Just put on a credit card, whatever. Pay it later. I don't know. The cab driver in Vegas was very sincere when he told me a heartfelt story about him and his current wife at the time. He said that she only tried to leave him once in the 35 years they were married, and she came back. So that was actually my deciding factor. Like, and he was from Seattle, which I'm actually from Seattle. So I was like, that's just too similar. I think it's a sign, which obviously was a bad sign. But I'm gonna fast forward to the train wreck divorce now. My ex-husband turned out to be crazy. And believe it or not, we only knew each other 5 months. And I remember I saw that movie with Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz. It was this Vegas wedding where these, you know, two people meet in Vegas. They win the slots, and they have this huge check they have to split in half somehow. And that, again, was not a good movie to watch right before going to Vegas, because somehow that movie got into my head, but my ex-husband didn't look anything like Ashton Kutcher. He was fat. And I think that we got divorced partially because he got fat, but then he was sort of like an alcoholic, he was bipolar, he almost tried to kill me with a shotgun coming home from the gym when he made guacamole. So I was just like, okay, whatever, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't deal with you, I can't deal with the shotgun over there, and I really can't deal with the way you fucking just made this guacamole. It doesn't taste good. Yeah, he literally asked me that. Like, I walked around the edge of the fucking couch, and he's like, do you want to taste my guacamole? And I took a bite, and then I was like, yeah, I think this needs to kind of wrap up. I think we need to kind of part ways. So, 13 or 14 cops like surrounded my house, which, you know, the neighbors called me the next day really politely and asked me if I was going to sell my house. Like, have you heard of like a waiting period? I mean, that was just like a little too soon, you know? Yeah, so that was definitely a very fun experience. Believe it or not, I came to New York here because I was on Facebook one day and I fell in love, which I know it's possible. And the guy was like, you should come to New York. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. It turns out he was a con artist. Can you believe that? Like a con artist on the internet? I know. It's just like, that doesn't happen. Those two never go hand in hand. Yeah, being single's rough in the city. I mean, like, Tinder can get you laid, but then you have to worry if you got an STD the next day. I don't call it a walk of shame, I call it a walk of pride. Because if you can have sex and get home safely in New York City, and you wake up and you actually know where the fuck you are in the morning, that is a walk of pride. That's definitely not a walk of shame. Definitely not. So, I hope you're enjoying your night, and it was super fun being out here, so thank you.
Lori McCarty, guys, Lori McCarty.